go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie, and today I have 10 new Thanksgiving DIYs using supplies from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to do some fall DIYs, but we're going to kind of, aim them more towards Thanksgiving. You guys have been asking for some Thanksgiving DIYs. And the first one, we're going to start with one of these little Dollar Tree gourds. This is the largest gourd they had there. I wish it was a little bit larger, but it actually turned out perfect for this. So I'm also going to use some of the fall eucalyptus they have from Dollar Tree. And I picked out like the maroon, the green, and the red just to kind of mix it up. One bunch of each one. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this little gourd into a little gourd turkey. And these are going to be the turkey feathers. So I want like the stem of the gourd to point front. I think it kind of looks a little bit like a beak. And so that's what we're going to use it as. So I'm just going to grab my red ones here and just kind of scatter those out. I have a total of 5. So I did one in the middle, one on each side, and then I can go back with the other 2 and go about halfway. And I'm just trying to do it on the back where they'll fan out like turkey feathers. So that's what it looks like so far. You could totally all do the same color if you wanted to. I thought it would be more colorful if I mixed it up a little bit. So for the maroon, the dark or maroon brown ones, I only did 4 so I could kind of scatter those out. And then for the green ones, I go a little bit further down. And I'm going to go ahead and use all 5 of those, just kind of spacing those out evenly between all the different colors. So they all kind of like lay like in a fan, nice and full. And you can do this with any like greenery. I think this looks really pretty with the eucalyptus, and this is how it looks so far. I was thinking maybe I should do something to the stem of it, maybe change up the color of it, and it doesn't want to stand up. It's a little back heavy there. So I am going to use one of these little wood slices from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to make a simple little base for him. So he'll be, won't be tipping over. It'll be nice and strong. So I just flip it over, and I'm just going to put a nail right through it. And that way I'll have something that I can actually pierce the foam gourd with. And then I thought for stability, I might as well do 2. So that's where we are. I'm going to use those nails in combination with hot glue. And we're going to secure the little gourd to it. I thought it would look really rustic and cute to do the little wood slice. I love decorating with those. They're so fun. And I just glue that in place, our little turkey here. I think it turned out so cute. I was really happy with it. I was really kind of struggling to, I wanted something that would last year to year. So I wanted to use like a fake gourd, but you could totally make this with a real gourd too. And you could probably make a larger one. But this is what we have so far for our little gourd turkey. And then I am going to paint the beak of it with this golden sunset color. These come off pretty easily, and they're easier to paint if you just go ahead and pop them off. And I'm just trying to cover up that bright green stem with the yellow, that golden color. So it is going to take several coats to kind of cover that up. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I did about 3 coats here. Once I get that dry, I'm just going to go ahead and poke that right back in, right where I got it. And I'm trying to make sure that I don't get any paint on my gourd. And touch it up here and there for where I touched it. And that is all there is to it. This is our little gourd turkey. I think it's super sweet for Thanksgiving. Super creative as well. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. What do you guys think about the little gourd turkey? This is how it's made. And it was great that I could just shove the little eucalyptus straight into the foam gourd. Made it really easy to construct without having to glue anything in place. And this is how it looks. I really like using all the different colors. I really thought about, I was going to make more than one of these, but I could only find one of these gourds at Dollar Tree today. So we're just going to have one of these little turkeys, but I think it turned out so cute. Super fun. Okay, are you ready for another Thanksgiving DIY? This one's going to be really easy. I found this great like bronze gold charger at Dollar Tree today, and I think this is going to be perfect for a giant like Thanksgiving plate for display. So we're going to do that with just some Dollar Tree window clings. These are great because you get 2 of them in a package for $1.25, so super cheap. And look at this beautiful Happy Thanksgiving like wreath with the corn and the pumpkins and stuff. I think this is going to look so pretty on this little charger. And then we can display it as a display plate. Now, to attach the window decal to the charger, I'm just going to use Mod Podge. I think I probably used too much. Sometimes the Mod Podge can come out pretty easily. You're probably going to want to use a little thinner coat than me because I did get a little bit of cloudiness. And then I am just going to lay my decal right in here, trying to center that and smooth it out. You want to make sure that you get any of the bubbles out and that it's laying flat directly in contact with the charger. I'm going to smooth it out here a little bit, and then we're going to go back with the Mod Podge and we are going to actually Mod Podge on top. Because I want that matte finish, I want to kind of seal in that really glossy window decal to make it look less like a decal. And then I'm also going to go over the entire charger with the Mod Podge too, so everything will have kind of the same sheen. So instead of just going in one direction, I kind of did circles on this, kind of made sense. And then I'm going to go in with my heat gun and start the drying process on this. I kind of had a lot of Mod Podge on there, but I think it looks pretty cute so far. So this is what it looks like. There was a slight sheen still from the plastic and kind of glittery pumpkins that I wanted to tone down some more. So I did go over it with another thin coat of Mod Podge and gave that a quick dry. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so pretty and makes a great display piece for Thanksgiving. Now I'm going to display it with one of these large plate racks that I got at Dollar Tree. And it's clear, so it will be a perfect match. And it is just the right size for like the giant charger plate to be a display. Isn't that image like so cute? I absolutely love it. And I love this charger. So here's a little close-up view of our little Happy Thanksgiving plate display. And this is going to be a great decoration because it's nice and large. You won't have to have as many decor items. And I love the finish on that charger. Isn't it so pretty? It's going to go great with a lot of the gold fall DIYs that I just made in a recent video. Okay, the next DIY, I wanted to make a ornamental corn display. When we grew up, we always called it Indian corn. I don't know if it's still appropriate to call it Indian corn, but I saw that a lot of people are calling it ornamental corn now, or flint corn, you know, the corn that is so beautiful. And I want to try to recreate that. So I'm going to use popsicle sticks for that. Now to create a base for the corn on a cob kind of thing, I'm going to take the jumbo popsicle sticks and I just glued 2 of them on top of another one going down a little bit so it kind of has like a pointy tip. That way it's going to give me a base where I can glue everything to. And I wanted to use popsicle sticks to try to make the individual kernels of corn. So I'm going to use a combination of Dollar Tree popsicle sticks. I found the colored ones, which I picked out all the orange, red, and yellow ones. Then I'm going to take some plain ones and stain them with some antique wax by Waverly. So we will have some brown ones. And then for the rest of them, we're just going to use like the natural wood. And I think this is going to give me a lot of colors that you can find in the ornamental corn. And we can just cut off the tips of these and it's going to give us a nice rounded corn kernel that we can use to kind of overlap to go up the corn. Now, I picked up some corn husk at the grocery store, and so I'm going to actually wrap that in corn husk, and this turned out so fun. I did find that my little miter scissors here are a little bit easier to cut the popsicle sticks, so I did switch to those. And I'm making them like a little over an inch long. I'm not really measuring them, but I want to make enough yellow, enough orange, enough red. I'm probably going to have more of the natural color than any of the special colors. That way I can kind of alternate all of the corn kernels. So I just went ahead and just cut them all down in advance, kind of sorting out the colors. And then I got more efficient. I realized I could cut like 2 of them at a time with my miter scissors. If you don't have any of the miter scissors, they are great. I do have those linked in my Amazon shop below. I love them for stuff like this. So with the natural wood popsicle sticks, I'm going to cut those down too. Again, I want a little bit more of those than the other colors. But, you know, I have those colored popsicle sticks from Dollar Tree, and I never use them. So this was a great use for them. They're very colorful, and then I won't have to paint the red, yellow, and orange ones. So let's start building our ear of corn. We're going to start at the bottom of the ear, and we're just going to start gluing these on. So one by one, I am making like the arch tip of them pointing down to represent a little corn kernel. And I'm just going to do a very random pattern, changing up colors. I'm going to want like maybe a couple of colors in each row, but I'm not afraid to put like a couple like natural ones together like that, kind of mix it up. And I made the bottom slightly smaller. I did 5 on the bottom, and then I did 6 on the second row. And then we're just going to kind of continue this. I'm kind of staggering them a little bit. I don't want anything to line up just perfect. I just want it to look really random. And I also want the color and the pattern to look really random too, just like you would see on the ornamental corn. And I'm just going to continue that all the way up. This was pretty easy to do, pretty fun too. I got this idea to make this corn on the cob from a blog, and I'll try to find that. I think I have that open in my browser, and I'll post a link to that. They did theirs with the dollhouse shingles, and they just did yellow corn, so you could totally do it with just yellow corn too. But I thought I would make a very colorful version, and I thought I could recreate it with items from the Dollar Tree. So that's what we're doing with the popsicle sticks, and they actually worked out really well. And as you can see, I'm just kind of continuing that pattern. Sometimes I can go a little off the side of the popsicle stick as long as I still have something to glue it to. And I'm also gluing it to the popsicle stick underneath of it. And we're just going to continue that all the way up to the tip. The reason I made that one on the bottom a little bit taller is so that it will have like a pointed end, kind of like a corn on the cob. I decided I need a few more natural ones, so we went ahead and cut some more down. And then we're going to keep this pattern going all the way up. And I'm just trying to like kind of feel what I can fit when I get up here. Because again, I want it to be like kind of pointy. So I'm just going to kind of overlap these. These were kind of sitting up a little bit more than normal. But as long as I was able to glue the top and the bottom down, it worked pretty well. And then for the top row, probably only 3 of them will fit. And I want it to kind of be a pointed end. It's kind of jagged the way that the popsicle sticks are. So I'm just going to go in with some heavy duty scissors and kind of cut corners on those, just to kind of give it that pointed look like a corn on the cob. This was a really fun DIY to make for sure. I'm going to go in with some of the corn husks. I got these on clearance at the grocery store. And we're just going to go ahead and start with these. I have another DIY with these as well. I got this huge package of these for like $3, so great deal. I'm just wrapping the corn husk around our little corn on the cob. And then we can kind of attach it to the front with a little bit of hot glue. I thought mine was a little bit wide, so I'm just going to trim that down a little bit so it's not too frilly on the back of that, because we are going to make a stand for this as well to display it. So I wrap a second corn husk around because the first one was not long enough, and I'm going to want to use multiple for different layers of the corn husk to kind of make it look more realistic. So I just glue those ends to the bottom there. I have this little scrap piece from when I shortened the first one, and so I might as well take advantage of it. We can make some little strips. Trimming those up, kind of making those look random. I want those to be different sizes, and gluing those on the front as well. Just kind of framing it out and making it look like there is an ear of corn in there. I think it's looking very colorful and very fun. I do trim the corn husk a little bit to kind of give it that corn on the cob shape as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and take another one and kind of rip it into sections. So I did like a third of it going out one direction, another third of it kind of going out the other direction. Again, giving you that feel of a corn husk. Now I want to display it, so I'm going to use one of these little round circle wood frames from the Dollar Tree. And it can be any of these. I'm just using it for the stand. So I just popped off the circle frame, trying to get rid of any of that material. There are a few nails that stick out of it, but it's not too good. So I'll show you what I did to attach this because I wanted to make it super strong. Now, I do want to stain it to kind of make it look pretty, so I'm just going to go in with some Antique Wax by Waverly and go over the base, the sides, and the stand here. And then I'm just going to go back and wipe off any of the excess, giving me this beautiful wood stain, super easy. And then we can attach our corn to it. I do hot glue to get me initially started. I want it to stand up and kind of tilt off to the right a little bit just for fun. And I didn't think that the hot glue was going to be strong enough. And so I am going to reinforce that just a little bit. I have to kind of go through several things of wood. So I tried kind of putting the staples in there, but they weren't really catching anything. So I switched it up to nails. And I was afraid they might go all the way through my ear of corn, but they actually didn't. It actually made it a lot stronger. And I wanted it to just kind of stand up on its own. I thought maybe one more nail here just to make sure that it is going to stay attached. And so we're going to derive that in the back of this little frame stand as well. And I think that is way better. We have our little ornamental corn in the corn husk, very fitting for Thanksgiving. I think it's so cute. I thought more of the scrap pieces, like right here in the front, would be cute. So I just pulled off some more strips, and we're just going to hot glue that right toward the base, kind of closing that up, making it really look like it is wrapped up. And this is how it turned out. I think it's so fun. What do you guys think about my little corn DIY? I think this is so fun and perfect for Thanksgiving. It was pretty easy to make too if you wanted to get any of the littles involved. And I think it's so colorful. I'm really glad I decided to go with all these different colors instead of just the yellow. And it was really fun decorating with corn husks as well. I found that they could be a little bit challenging on the next DIY we're going to do with those though. But on this one, it was pretty easy. Hey guys, I wanted to let you know that I've introduced memberships on my channel. For $4.99 a month, you're going to get early ad-free access to my videos and a few other perks as well, like shout-outs in each video. And it's an easy way for you to support me here on YouTube, and it really helps. Now on with the Thanksgiving DIYs. This one's going to be really easy. We're going to use a Dollar Tree vase and 3 packages of these little mini pumpkins and gourds. I got these at Dollar Tree today. I got like the red ones, the orange ones, and the green ones. I thought this would be really beautiful and colorful. Now to decorate the vase and make it not look so plain, I'm going to use a little burlap ribbon and one of the little leather thankful pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I picked up this burlap ribbon for $2 at Popshelf the other day. I really liked it because I didn't really have a burlap ribbon in this size, and I was really happy to find this. So I'm just going to cut out enough of the burlap ribbon to wrap around the wreath. And I really wanted something to glue the thankful to instead of trying to glue this to glass, because I noticed the faux leather really does not want to glue to glass very well. So I'm just going to glue it to the burlap ribbon instead. And making sure that I have it good and down, because again, the faux leather and hot glue doesn't always play nice. And I kind of made like a little strap, a little belt to wrap around the plain vase and give it a little bit of Thanksgiving touch. I'm just going to hot glue that ribbon to it. I cut enough to slightly overlap it right here in the back, gluing it to itself. And easy peasy, we have the vase decorated. And then all we're going to do is fill this up with all of those beautiful, colorful gourds. I want to kind of like alternate the colors and just fill the vase up all the way. So I kind of want to alternate the colors. So I kind of switch it up and kind of see what's going to fit so that I can get it as tightly filled as I can. As you can see, like the gourds, the pumpkins, they all have a little bit different shape. I thought you might be able to see the tag on the bottom, so I'm just going to remove that real quickly before I get any further on this. And then I'm going to continue filling this up. I want it to look super colorful, and I think these gourds are actually really pretty. I think they're painted nicely. And again, we're just kind of mixing up shapes, sizes, and colors, trying to get it as full as possible. We're not going to use all of these, but we're going to use most of them here. So I think that's probably as many as I can get in there. And that's all there is to it. Such a quick, easy Dollar Tree Thanksgiving DIY. You could sit this anywhere in your kitchen, in your living space, and it's going to bring a little dose of Thanksgiving decor. And you could leave this up all fall if you want it. I think it's going to be really pretty for Thanksgiving. I love that it says thankful. Those little leather tags are so cute. And this is how it looks. I think it's really colorful and fun. And it could not be any easier. Okay, the next DIY, check out these acorns and thankful sign that I found at Dollar Tree the other day. Never seen these before. I think they're so pretty. They're strung up on a little jute twine. And then I'm going to combine it with a little mini tobacco basket. I got this for $3 at Popshelf as well. It's the first time I've been to that store. I found one in the next town over, and I was a big fan of it. For $3, I think this is super cute, right? So I do want it to hang on the wall. And so I'm going to just make a quick little hanger with some twine and loop it and tie a knot. And we can just attach that to the back of the little tobacco basket. It's nice and small, so I don't think it's going to be super easy or super heavy to hang. So I'm just going to attach that to one of the little crossrows here with hot glue and kind of centering that on the back of it. And then I thought that the little acorns and that little thankful leaf would be so cute inside. Such an easy way to decorate it. I do add extra hot glue there to reinforce that, and then I let that sit until it's set up. We're going to flip it over and just kind of lay our little acorns in here. I'm going to leave it all attached. I think it looks so cute like this. And it fits perfectly in this little basket. Thankful is going to be kind of sideways, but I kind of like the vibe. And then we're just going to start gluing the pieces down individually. So this is my little green acorn. And I'm just making sure that I have that good and attached. Just holding it down with the hot glue because it's going to be hanging on the wall. I don't want this falling off. I think that these acorns and this little sign are so pretty They really don't need anything. I think the colors are great. The finish is great. No glitter or anything like that. And then I'm going to glue this one down almost straight here in the middle of the little tobacco basket. Have you guys been to any of the pop shelf stores? I didn't get a lot of stuff there, but I did get a few items like this that I was really happy with. I noticed they have dollar items and stuff like you would find at the Dollar Tree, but they also have more expensive items too, so it's kind of a mix. Everything's beautiful though. And I just glued all 3 pieces down, leaving all of the rope just to kind of do what it wants to do there. So again, another really easy Thanksgiving DIY, and I think it's so cute. And it really looks high end. See the painting on the acorns, how nicely that's painted with like the gold distressing on the acorn cap. So cute. And I love that little basket. I've always wanted one of those, and this is kind of a mini one. This is how it looks hanging up. I did have to kind of mess with the hanger a little bit to get it to hang straight. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to DIY one of these little foam pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. I always try to choose the white ones when I have a choice because it's going to make it a difference. You don't have to paint them white to start a project. And I am going to cover it with the corn husks that I got from the grocery store. Now, I know that if you soak the corn husks, it makes them easier to work with. And I didn't want to do that because I wanted to hot glue it down. And I know that I wouldn't be able to hot glue it down if it was wet. So I don't know. I found that this was a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be. Now, gluing the smaller part to the top of the pumpkin like that with the hot glue was actually pretty easy. Now, I want to kind of make it not so wide, so I kind of fold it up upon itself and kind of wrap that around. It does go all the way around to the bottom of it, and then I'm just going to hot glue that to the base. Now, I found that hot gluing it to the foam worked a little bit better than hot gluing it to itself or anything else. So I was trying to hot glue it onto that tag that was on the bottom, and it was kind of fighting me a little bit on that. So I just used a lot of hot glue, and then I had to be patient and kind of let it dry. Now I got that first piece on there, so now I'm going to use a second piece and go straight across, kind of doing the same thing. So just going to glue it here, leaving room for a pumpkin stem. And again, that part was easy. This was the tricky part. So I kind of make it a little bit skinnier like I did before. And then I just apply a lot of hot glue and try to glue it to itself. I thought that this step would be way easier than it was. But again, I just kind of had to exercise some patience on this DIY. In the end, though, it turns out super cute. So I'm going to grab some more of these. I'm trying to use kind of pretty much the same size. And I'm going to hot glue it here. So we're going to do crisscross, like in a cross first. Then we can go back and fill in any of the missing sections. So again, on the bottom, I kind of folded up a little bit using lots of hot glue. We're just going to glue that to itself and make sure that it stays. If you don't let it set up, it will come back apart. Trust me. I don't know if there's a secret on hot gluing the corn husks. If you know something, please let me know in the comments. I always appreciate your all's wise crafting advice. So I went straight across on that one and did the same thing. And just making sure that's secure. I thought about like trying to staple it and stuff like that, but I didn't think that would really work either. So we stuck with the hot glue. Now to fill in the little gaps in between, I think that one of the corn husks is going to be plenty. So I just glue the tip, and then just like before, we just wrap that around and we're going to glue that to the back. And that's what I mean. I just don't know why it was super difficult to hot glue the corn husks to each other. I don't know if it's because I am bending it like that and it's really, I'm just trying to bend it without actually cracking it or breaking it. But again, just hot glue in time, and I was able to get it to stick. And I'm actually going to put a base on this, so that's probably going to help keep everything together as well. So as you can see, that overlaps it nicely. It does stick out a little further, but I'm totally okay with that. I think that's going to look cute. And then we're going to have 3 more sections to do the same thing to fill in the 3 triangular gaps there. And I want to decorate this, but I don't want to make it super decorative. I really want the corn husks to kind of speak for themselves on this pumpkin. And I've done so many different DIYs with these foam pumpkins from the Dollar Tree. They're just such a perfect size to work with, and they're so fun. Making sure everything's together. I just have 2 more to attach here. And again, just leaving a small circular shape in there so that I can cut a hole in the top, and then we can add a stem in here. These were all pretty much the perfect length to go around one side of the pumpkin and kind of be hidden underneath without having to cut anything down. And we're almost there. 1 more piece, and we have got a little corn husk pumpkin. I'm just looking for the perfect piece. I noticed some of them did have holes in them, but that's okay because it does kind of look a little bit rustic too, but I tried not to use them on my pumpkin. So last piece, I glued the tip on the top and then gluing it tight to the bottom. And then once I had it all wrapped in corn husks, I noticed it was really tippy. See, it does not want to lay flat. And so I am going to make a base with this. So again, I'm using one of these little wood slices from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to take a couple Dollar Tree nails here. I chose some longer ones, and just go ahead and drive those in so I can kind of stab the foam pumpkin from the bottom. It's going to help keep everything attached. So very similar to how we did the gourd turkey earlier. I love these wood slices. I think they're so fun and rustic. So I'm going to combine the nails with hot glue, of course, and just set the base on there. And like I said, that's going to help kind of reinforce everything, keep the corn husks attached to the bottom of it because they weren't really that stable. So kind of like that so far. And that's going to give me a nice heavy base and make this stand up properly. Now for the stem, I'm going to use one of these little wood stems from the Dollar Tree. Kind of leans to one side, so I think that's going to make a perfect pumpkin stem. And I'm just going to cut a hole here in the center of the pumpkin with my scissors and push the wood stem in there. I want it to be nice and tight. Just like that. I think it's so cute so far, a little corn husk pumpkin. I think it just needs a little bit more decorating, but this is what it looks like at this point. Now for the base of it, I thought it would be fun to decorate it with some of this fall berry garland. This is the one with like the orange and the red berries on them. And I thought we could just kind of string that around the little wood base at the bottom just to provide a little touch of fall and make it really look cute for Halloween. So I just kind of wrap that around until I'm happy with it. I just want kind of like just a very small wreath down there, just enough to provide a little bit of decoration. So I'm trying to decide how much I want. I think that's going to be plenty. And I found a part that I could just untwist it, and I didn't even have to cut it. So kind of haphazardly, just kind of laying on the wood slice, but I think that looks really cute like that. Now to decorate the pumpkin stem, I thought this little orange felt blessed pumpkin from this little mini wood bead wreath from the Dollar Tree would be perfect. So I'm just going to borrow this and get some more twine so that we can tie this onto our pumpkin stem ourselves. I use this, and I also use a little burlap bow that is on that as well, and just leaving the orange wood bead wreath for a later DIY. I just tied the twine around the little pumpkin stem like that, trimming it up a little bit. It's so cute. I thought I had this bow, I might as well use it. So I just popped that off the wood wreath. And then we can just attach it here to decorate the top of our pumpkin. I was trying to decide which side I wanted it on. And I kind of like it a little bit better here on the front where you can see it. So we're just going to hot glue that in place right there on the pumpkin stem. And I really think that is all that you need. I thought about using the wood bead wreath there for the base instead of the wood slice, but I think the wood slice is probably a little bit more stable. And this is how it turned out, our little corn husk pumpkin. It was more work than I thought it was going to be, but I think it turned out really unique and cool. So here it is. And you know, if you're decorating with corn husks, you can always dye them as well with just regular dye. That would be a fun thing to do as well. But I was trying to stick with traditional colors like this straw color, orange, reds, and browns today. So I think this is going to fit in nicely. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick moment and let you know about my Facebook group. I always have it linked in the description below. We would love to have you over there. I also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, and my handle is Crafty Beach on YouTube. I would love to see you on any and all of those platforms. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to take a Dollar Tree pumpkin. I wanted something that looked a little bit more realistic than the foam pumpkins, and this one's actually really pretty. It's kind of an orangish red. It's painted nicely. Just going to pop the stem off of it, and what we're going to do is kind of make this into a little pumpkin vase. I grabbed some wheat also from the grocery store. That was about $3 for that big bundle of wheat. And I thought we could do a really fun floral arrangement in this little pumpkin. So I'm just going to start gathering some of the wheat here. They're way longer than I need them to be. So I am going to have to kind of trim those down to size. And I thought we could just put them right inside the foam pumpkin. Now, the only thing I noticed about that is that just like before with the foam pumpkin, it was really kind of tippy. And I thought once I fill this in with all my florals, it's definitely going to fall over. So I start my plan to try to weight it down. Now, my first plan was to I thought it was hollow inside, and it wasn't really hollow to my surprise. So I tried to cut as large of a hole in there as I can. And then I'm just using Dollar Tree pebbles to try to weigh it down. Now, I don't know if this really did any good because I did have to use something else a little bit later in the DIY, but I did try to fill it up with pebbles a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and start gathering my wheat again. I'm basically cutting off about half of the stem, and I want to use a combination of like that real wheat, some fall flowers, and some cat's tails from Dollar Tree to make a really beautiful floral display. So I'm just starting to do all the wheat first. As you can see, it still kind of wants to fall over, which is why I did have to weigh it down some more. I'm always looking for ways to weigh stuff down like this because I don't want a project to be something that's going to be falling over all the time. So kind of piece by piece, trying to fill that out. I think that's pretty good. And these are the little cat's tails that I got at the Dollar Tree. These are brown. I think the colors are going to be perfect. I don't really want any of the greenery on there. I think it's a little too green for what I'm doing. So I'm just going to take the cattail itself, and I'm actually going to stab that down into the foam by making a little hole with its wire. Now I have a total of 5 of these, and we're going to go ahead and use all of them. As you can see, I'm just kind of alternating these out, kind of on a row underneath of where the wheat is, because the wheat is all in the center of the pumpkin. And then I want the last piece to be longer, so I try to get as much the wire as I can with that, so I can put that right in the middle and it'll be nice and tall, standing above everything else. Now to cover up the base and to clean it up and also add more decor, we're also going to add some of those fall flowers. But first I thought maybe a few more pieces of wheat. And I just wanted to look nice and full and even, just kind of spreading those out a little bit as well. And then the flowers are going to kind of fill in where I kind of stabbed the pumpkin with the cattails and clean everything up. These are the only fall flowers that I have. They are marigolds. I think that the color on these are perfect. And they have little stems on them if you take them off carefully. And you can just attach them to the pumpkin by pushing that stem right into the foam. You don't even have to use hot glue or anything. So I'm going to do a total of 3. I think that's going to be plenty to fill that all in. And I think this turned out so pretty. If you had a larger pumpkin, you could always do this on a bigger scale. And then I decided to switch some of the bigger Dollar Tree rocks, and I just poked a hole in the bottom and shoved one of those in to weigh down the bottom of the pumpkin, and that really helped. That worked way better than my first method. And this is how it turned out. Our little fall floral arrangement in a Dollar Tree pumpkin. I think this is so sweet. You can use this as a centerpiece if you wanted. It'd be really pretty if you did that, if you did it maybe on a little bit larger scale, but this would totally work as well. And it's the first time I've ever DIY'd with like actual wheat, but I think it turned out really pretty. What do you guys think? So you can totally use a combination of real and faux flowers in an arrangement like this, and it can turn out great. And I think the colors really work really nicely together too. Now the next Thanksgiving DIY, I'm going to use one of these little milk jugs that I found at Dollar Tree. I think it's so cute. And we're going to fill it up with some more of that wheat that I got from the grocery store. I thought we could do a very simple arrangement in this, but I was thinking about it. Do I really want my little milk jug to be clear, or do I want it to be colored for Thanksgiving? And I decided I wanted to be colored for Thanksgiving. Now I totally didn't have the color that I wanted, but I'll show you how I got to it. So I mixed water with pumpkin orange, fire red, and my goal here is to make a watered down acrylic that I can use on the inside of my milk jug to kind of paint it from inside. Adding a little bit more orange and red, and then a little bit of brown to darken it up a little bit, because I wanted like this orange-red color, but kind of a dark version of it. And it turned out exactly how I wanted. I think I mixed up way too much paint though, I always do. And once I get it all stirred up, I'm just gonna pour that in the vase. I poured a little bit in there, probably too much. And then I'm just gonna kind of swirl that around like this till I coat the inside of my vase with that beautiful red color. Gonna dump out any excess on my paper towels. You might want to sit this on some newspaper or something like that until it dries. Now I did leave the paint like along the top part of it because it kind of needed it just along the edges right there. But I made sure I didn't have any paint on the outside of the bottle. So I'm just going to clean that up with a baby wipe. So it's nice and shiny on the outside. This is my favorite way to paint one of these little clear bottles from the Dollar Tree. Look how pretty this is now. I hurried mine along with my heat gun because I needed mine to get dry a little faster. And then we're going to take this wheat. Again, it's probably too long for this smaller vase. And so we're going to trim it down too. I cut off about half of it and just start arranging this in our little red milk bottle. I'm really glad I chose that for the vase. I think it looks really cute. And we're pretty much going to use most of my wheat bundle in this. I do save a couple pieces for a later project. You'll see here in just a minute. I really hope that you're enjoying these Thanksgiving DIYs. I stayed up all night making these and editing these videos because I really wanted to get this video out to you guys. I've been trying to do a video every other day. If you haven't noticed, tons of content here on my channel, trying to make this a full-time job. And I love how this turned out. I think the wheat is so pretty for Thanksgiving, and the simplicity of this little milk jug. And I think the color is perfect. What do you guys think about this DIY? I love the little milk jug. I'll have to look for more of those in the future. I love it, and I think the colors are perfect. Okay, the next DIY, we're going to use one of these wood round signs from the fall section at Dollar Tree. This one has like a bump out pumpkin on it and 2 etched pumpkins on it, but plenty of room for decorating, so I thought it would be a great use for some of the fall stencils from Dollar Tree. So I am just going to stain the entire wood round with some antique wax by Waverly. I did have to switch to a brush to kind of get in all of the back areas of the little pumpkin design and make sure I get all of the unfinished wood stained. And I love that it brings out like the wood grain and this beautiful wood round. It really gives it a lot of character. And we're just going to do a really fun Thanksgiving hand-painted sign with this, but I think that the stain sign is going to give us a great start. I wipe off any of the excess with a baby wipe. I don't want it to be too dark because I still want to see the pumpkin etchings through. And I can use this for a guide to paint them. I thought the easiest way to paint these would be to use paint pens. And so I'm going to use my red Posca paint pens. I love these things. Sometimes I get these on Amazon, but I think I got this multicolor set at Target. They're a little bit pricier than some paint pens, but man, they work incredible. I'll have to make sure that these are linked in my Amazon shop too, in case you're interested in them. I love them because look how easily they painted over the stain. I use these to paint candles, all kinds of fun things. So I wanted to do traditional fall colors, so we've already done the brown. So I did one color in red, one pumpkin in red, and one pumpkin in yellow. Just kind of sketching out the lines that I could see through the stain first, and then going back with my paint pen and filling everything in. Now it's a little bright so far, the colors, but we're going to kind of stain it some more and kind of dull down the colors a little bit. Now for the pumpkin in between, I'm just using pumpkin color, so an orange acrylic, and I'm just being careful and using a tiny brush because I don't want to get any paint on the pumpkin behind it. I just want to get like the pumpkin frame here, if you will. And I think the yellow pumpkin, the orange pumpkin, and the red pumpkin go really nicely together and really represent the colors for Thanksgiving. Just a few more areas here, and I think that looks pretty good. Now, I wanted to kind of clean these up a little bit, and I thought outlining them would help. I'm using a Sharpie. This is actually like a bronze color, but it's really close to the Antique Wax by Waverly, and that's kind of what I was going for, just to kind of outline everything and clean it up a little bit. And I think that gave it a little bit of detail, nothing too drastic though. And I love using a combination of paint pens and Sharpies because the Sharpies work really well for stuff like that. Now here's the stencil we're going to use. These came in a 2-pack from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to use the one that says Thankful and Blessed. It also has like the acorn and pumpkin design at the top, but we don't have enough room for that, so we're just going to use the Thankful and Blessed. Now I want to continue the same color scheme, so I'm going to use my paint pens again. And I'm just using my paint pen on the stencil. I'm going to do the word thankful in red. And it was a little tricky trying to get in all these areas and try not to get any bleeding. And then I'm going to switch it up and do yellow for the blessed. And for the and. Now, I don't know why that the and bled, but the blessed didn't. I don't know why. And then I'm going to do this part of the ribbon in red as well to kind of mix it up. And this is what it looks like so far. I'm going to kind of clean up the end because, again, I said I had a little bit of bleeding on that one. And I'm just trying to take off any of the excess paint. I can always go back and touch it up. Now, I didn't think it was very legible, so I thought it would be way easier to read if I outlined it. So again, I'm using Posca paint pens, and I'm using white this time. And we're just going to go over and we're going to outline all of the letters here and really make like this thankful word pop. This DIY, it took many turns. You'll see here in a minute. You know, when you're working on a DIY and you're just not super happy with it? That totally happened to me on this sign, but in the end, I got to where I wanted. I also went ahead and traced out like the little ribbon to make that pop. Then I thought it would be really nice to go around the edges of this little pumpkin pop out with the white too, and really make that pop too. Just doing all of the edges with the white paint pen, trying my best not to get it on my pumpkin below. And just outlining it with the white like that just really makes it pop from the sign. Now, I like the white, but I also want it to be, you know, a little bit distressed and stained. So I go over all of that I just added with some more of the Antique Wax by Waverly to kind of tone everything down. I'm also going to do that on top of our bright yellow and red pumpkins too. Again, toning it down. We're going to make a new hanger here. I just use a little bit of Dollar Tree twine. A good tip I have is I always hot glue the ends. It makes stringing it through way easier. And I always like to tie them in the front. So I am just going to wrap that around, make a hanger for a little thankful and blessed. Then to frame it out, I thought I would use some of these little dot stickers from the Dollar Tree. I don't have a lot of room to frame it out, but I think we can make these work. They come in these long strips like this, which makes them really easy because they also have adhesive on them as well. I'm going to start right here on the pumpkin. I can't go all the way around there on the bottom because there's just not enough room with that pumpkin there, but I'll show you how I do to kind of cover that area up in the final project. So I'm just going to string these one by one, trying to push them down. They are pretty sticky. If you're going to use yours outdoors though, you might want to add some extra glue or hot glue to these because they might not stay on. And I go all the way around the circle at least as much as I can. And they were green, so I decided to add some green leaves down here to the bottom. Now, I told you that this project took many directions, and so I end up not leaving the green leaves on there, but I'm still going to show you kind of where we went. So these are the lamb's ear leaves from the leaves from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to kind of trim them up and arrange them here at the bottom of the pumpkin. I kind of wanted to look like a kind of a pumpkin patch and to kind of match my green border that we did. And then I'm going to cut off some of those berries from that berry garland to kind of finish off my leaves there by adding some orange and red. Just hot gluing those right in the center of our leaves. So I always like to show you the whole project so you know when I actually change my mind on stuff too. And you can see what goes wrong and what goes right. One thing I didn't like was the yellow. I thought this was really hard to read. So I just updated the word blessed with my white paint pen. And then I went back and distressed them over so lightly with the Antique Wax by Waverly to kind of make it blend in with everything else. That's when I realized I wasn't really digging the green on this project. I really kind of wanted to stick to more Thanksgiving Day colors. And so I went ahead and just popped those off with a little heat. And then I thought we could use some more of that wheat that I got at the grocery store to finish off the bottom, and I think that's going to look really natural. I picked 2 smaller ones and 2 larger ones, and we can kind of make it kind of overlap the bottom of the pumpkin and kind of come up like this. So I'm just gluing it to that pumpkin frame and to the sign itself, and it filled in that area at the bottom of the sign nicely. Now, I think that looks good, but then I wasn't that happy with the green beads that we used around. But you know what? You can always paint those too. So I'm going to mix a couple of colors together to try to get that wheat color. I use my golden sunset in my antique parchment, and then I just use a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to go over and distress all of those little beads that we put all the way around the edges. And that's pretty much going to take away the green that I wasn't really feeling on this DIY. So I'm trying to just distress the little stickers and not so much the sign. And I'm going over that green color, so it is going to require a couple coats of the ivory to kind of make that pop. And I like it now. So this is how it turned out, our little hand-painted thankful and blessed sign. If you have the stencils and you have one of these signs, hopefully this gives you some fun crafting inspiration. I'm glad I switched it up. I really like the wheat on here a lot more than I did the leaves. Super fun and ready for another easy Thanksgiving DIY. We're going to make a really fun Thanksgiving candle using one of these pillar candles and candle holders from the Dollar Tree. And then I picked up some of the leather maple leaves from the Dollar Tree as well. And I thought we could try to do a painted leaf using the stencils from the Dollar Tree again. I just chose one that was about Thanksgiving. This one says give thanks, and I just peel and stick. They're like stickers onto the little leather leaf. Now I tried to smooth this out the best that I can. I don't know if it's because I attached it to leather, but I did end up with some bleeding on this. And so definitely be careful because I wasn't sure. I couldn't really get the paint off of the leather. I was kind of afraid to use fingernail polish remover or anything like that. So I just kind of left it as distressed. But this is how I painted mine. I just taped it off with painter's tape and then used a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree to go over it with that antique parchment ivory color. Gave it a quick dry and then went over it one more time to make it nice and bold. That's when I realized I had a little bleeding from my packing tape. And I really couldn't get that off, but we're going to make it work anyway. So I'm going to peel my stencil off carefully here. And as you can see, maybe I used too much paint because I did definitely have bleeding. But I thought we can probably clean this up. So I go in with a baby wipe, and first I just kind of start concentrating on the areas that bled, trying to get off any imperfections here. But then I decided to keep rubbing it because I kind of like the texture of the leather coming through the paint. It gives it like a bumpy texture, and I think that looks really cool. So I kept kind of cleaning mine off until Give Thanks was still on there, but it was heavily distressed. Now for the candle holder, we're just going to use some Dollar Tree burlap ribbon. This is the perfect size for that candle holder. And cut off a piece that's going to wrap all the way around the little candle. I love candles for fall. They're one of my very favorite things to craft. So again, I want to attach the faux leather to the burlap instead of to the glass. So I'm just going to do hot glue on the stems and on the leaf tips. Again, I want to make sure that that's all glued down because it's going to be wrapping around like the circular shape of the wreath, and I don't want this popping off. So I make sure all of my tips are super secure, and then we can just wrap this around our little candle holder. I love this candle holder size. I think it's perfect. And glue the burlap to the back, overlapping it so slightly and gluing that to itself. So it's just another fun thing that you can paint with the little stencils from the Dollar Tree, and I think it's really unique and fun with our little Give Thanks leather leaf. And then we're just going to pop in one of these vanilla scented candles from Dollar Tree. And we have a little Give Thanks. Again, as you can see, I did have that bleeding on there. I don't know. Do you think it would be okay to use fingernail polish remover on that leather? I was afraid it might destroy the finish on there because I would like to clean it up a little bit, but I guess I can always say that I was going for a distressed look on there. But it says Give Thanks, and I think it's super cute for Thanksgiving. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed all 10 of today's Thanksgiving DIYs using items from the Dollar Tree. I had a lot of fun putting them together. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Comment your favorite DIY below. And don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers.
trouble. You're always resting at my door. Though I've wavered, you've been waiting. I'm the one you're looking for. Gratefully and humbly, I give you everything. And all that I can sing is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You alone can see me clearly, even in my deep despair. In the giving, we receive it. Show me how to meet you there. Gratefully and humbly, I give you everything. And all that I can sing is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Gratefully and humbly, I give you everything. And all that I can sing is thank you, thank you.
And I want to give a huge thank you to Coastal Couple, Pamela Bergeron, I Am Mojo Jojo, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Sandra Ray, Carrie R., Tracy Knight, Verna Noctegal, Nancy Wunner, Jan Zalata, Tammy Coates, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Butterfly Mama, and Maria Grace. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and being Crafty Beach Bum members. I appreciate you so much. If you would like to join the membership, this is how. You can just go to my page, hit join. It's so easy. You can cancel anytime, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. And if you would like to watch more Crafty Beach, YouTube thinks that you might enjoy this video right here. Happy crafting!